Let's go deep here for the next couple minutes or so, Roger, on the Avatar end of it. Anything you want to kind of hit on first before maybe I kind of take another stab into the elements?
Yeah, just one thing I definitely want to add as I was listening to you talk there is like, if you are listening and you are a little lost and kind of like thinking, hey, that's me, that kind of feels that like my website is either I have it or I don't have it, and I'm going through the process, I'm confused. It's all about getting involved, guys. Just get involved in the process. And that's why this first step, finding who your avatar, your target market is going to be huge. So just staying involved in the process is one thing that a big tip that I can really give. A lot of people are really disconnected. They don't want to be involved in that. They just want the website up there. But to your point, Shawn, you said it right there. A lot of people is like, that's not really my brand. It doesn't represent me. Well, whose fault is that, right? You have to get involved. That's the only way you're really going to be confident in what's built for you in regards to your online presence.
Absolutely. So we've got a worksheet that I know you and we like to use it a lot at Top Results. We've kind of taught a lot of this with our clients, whatnot. Now, if you're watching and maybe later on, maybe listening to this on one of the podcast players out there, go back, find this episode on YouTube so that you can actually watch this section if you want to see the worksheet, because I am going to share it up to the screen here in a second. But before I get into that, why do you want to spend the time dialing in your avatar? Before we even talk about how, right, all the components of it and what this worksheet can do for you, why do you want to do it? Ask yourself this question. And Roger, actually, I'll ask you and see if it's ever happened to you.
Sure.
Have you ever felt like a business is trying to market something? You're a scuba diver. Maybe there's dive companies out there, or dive products out there that you've seen their advertisement, you've seen their marketing, you've seen social media things to them or whatever the case, and you feel like they're talking almost like they knew something about your last dive and a situation or a feeling or whatever the case, that marketing almost hit you in the spot. Like were they underwater with me? Have you ever had that happen?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've had, I mean, when I'm out there kind of looking for equipment or actually looking for boat dives, when we're going to go out and looking for some kind of tour, we are a consumer. My wife and I, she just got certified herself. She's all over the internet right now, searching for these dive shops, looking for boat dives and for us to go out and different things to do now that she's certified. So yeah, I mean, that's how we're making decisions. We're getting in there, and the ones we're picking are the ones that tell that story and really speak to us, right? They're not trying to bombard us with a bunch of marketing and sell us right off the bat. They're pretty much telling a story and making us feel like, man, I want that, right? But yeah.
And the reason that happens is because they know exactly who they're talking to. They're not just talking to everybody with that messaging. They're talking to the person like you and your wife who are out there searching, whether it be for a boat dive or searching for a piece of equipment. I know my girlfriend Deanna and I, we experience this a lot when we're looking for certain things for the canyon community or, canyoneering world that we're in. I see it a lot just in day-to-day stuff. I do a lot of, I'm a contractor by trade. It's my background before all of this web buzz, podcasts, TRC business, all that kind of stuff. So I still do a lot from a woodworking standpoint and construction side. And I see it all the time. I get hit with things. I'm like, man, I need that tool. Yeah, everything about that tool just screams what I need because of the situation that I've been in. And it's because they've dialed in their avatar. They're not trying to talk to everybody. They know exactly who they're talking to, who that product or service fits, what's the benefits to it, why it's designed for exactly who that person it's targeting for. And as a business, right, and this translates into your website, when you can get to that level, I say this all the time, the greatest gift that a business owner could ever give themselves is the ability to think exactly like their customer. If you could step into the shoes of your customer, think exactly like them, to the level that we're about to break down that the sheet will help you get to, it's almost like stealing candy from a kid. We'll stay on the candy train here. It's like that easy to do business, where I almost feel like I'm taking candy away from a kid because I know exactly what's going through their mind. So when we craft a message, when we get on a call, when we put something to our website, we put something out there, it's speaking to the person that we want it to speak to. And we're not worried about all the people that it misses because they're not the person or the subcategory, so to say, of our operation. They're not our target. They're not who we need. So with that, let's go ahead and pull in. We're going to get fancy here. Throw up the avatar sheet. Everybody should be able to see that now if you're watching this on one of the live broadcast streams out there. This is our kind of go-to customer avatar worksheet. And there's a bunch of different varieties of them out there, but this one happens to be the one we've created here at Top Results. It's what we've kind of given and worked with our clients on. And there's a lot to unpack in here. I'm not going to go detail into it, but I do want to highlight some of the key pieces. And Roger and I, we were talking before the broadcast went live here. We're gonna create a page that you guys can go to and download and get your copy of this. So if you want to use this exact copy to fill it out for your business, we'll link that up in the show notes. It'll be in the descriptions of all the different places that this is out at. We'll go back and throw this into the comments of the live stream so that those that were on live, liked whatever they might see it, they can get it. So you guys can get a copy of it. Don't think you got to take a screenshot of this screen and try to figure it out off of this tiny little thumbnail. But the customer avatar worksheet, the main component of it is really right down the center. That's where you want to start. And this kind of breaks up the demographics of your individual. Now, demographics is very simple. It's who it is, their age, maybe their age range, gender. You might have some, like for us, maybe we design a product that's really more so for a female consumer, or maybe it's more for the male side. Maybe your product's both. It's okay to have both, so male and female. Some other details like marital status, age of children, these type of things, location. You might have certain elements of your business that are very specific to a city or town. Maybe your product or service is a little more stretched, or maybe you have different products depending on the different areas. So this is the demographics of an individual. And honestly, this is where most businesses stop. They kind of have an idea early on that they've got to design their business around somebody, and they can tell us that. But Roger, you've probably heard it. Most of the time, the information we get, we could just fill it out in that first tiny section, and it's just basic demographics.
That's it, man. It's as easy as that. If you follow this worksheet, it literally tells your web developer. And in this case, that's basically where the seat that I sit in the team that I kind of manage at Top Results is when we see this. This makes it so much easier for us to help you kind of build out all those pieces that we talked about. I mean, you start uncovering everything about your business that you probably didn't even know yourself. So absolutely, man.
Now, to take it deeper, all right, because demographics is great. That really helps. It starts the process. But where the magic lies is in the 4 boxes all around that center kind of demographic column. And this is where we get into what's known as psychographics. Psychographics is the emotional side. It's the buying trigger. If you're taking notes, writing things down, you want to make a mental note, pin this section of a video or the audio or whatever, I would leave you with this. If you take nothing else from today, your prospects, your customers, they buy on emotion. They make decisions on emotion. They confirm it with the logic. So the magic is your marketing, your messaging, the stuff on your websites, the marketing that you put out to drive back to your website needs to be against the emotional triggers. So we start with the top left-hand side there. You see there is a box for goals and values. Very simple. Ask yourself, this individual, real estate Sally, mid-aged, 45 to 65 female in, I don't know, we're in Los Angeles. I'm in Los Angeles right now. So we'll say resides out in Los Angeles, has older kids that are out of the house. They're not young kids. That's kind of who I'm speaking to here. Well, what is Real Estate Sally's goals in life? What are they trying to do? What do they value? Well, some goals that they might have are they want to, downsize a little bit and start to enjoy the latter years of their life. They want to travel a little bit more. Maybe not as much with COVID right now, but maybe that'll change in the coming months. But they're looking for kind of, tier 2, so to say, of life. Now, what do they value? They still probably value something like a safe environment, a nice place, respect from somebody that they're going to do business with, these type of things. Family is another probably big value that they have. Safety, these type of things. So you want to break down goals, values, because now I have an idea of what is this person striving for. That's going to allow me to use some of that in those detailed pages, sections, and into our additional marketing. Same thing on the far right side, top right side of this sheet. You've got challenges and pain points. This is the money right here. This is what's driving them to be searching for whatever it is that you've got. Whatever product or service you're doing, it's stemming from a challenge or a pain point that they have. So just break it down. What's some of the challenges Real Estate Sally's having? Well, if she's trying to sell her house to downsize into a condo to be able to live the latter years a little more free, well, the challenge right now is COVID. Real estate market may be a little slow, higher interest rates, confusion on what real estate agent to pick, go from. Confused, is the real estate agent the only way to sell my house? And some of the challenges through pain points, maybe trust. Maybe she's a single. Maybe this avatar that we're tying to is a widow or a single female. Well, pain point is she's kind of on her own. No other decision maker around. Nobody to bounce the decisions off of. These type of things. Anything you want to add on those two boxes, Roger? Because that's really, those two bring even more value into this whole mix than just hitting that demographic side.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I just want to kind of really point out as people are following along. Now, if you really think about the original list that I kind of read off at the beginning, what's the next step? The next step is keyword research. So if you look at the sheet as Shawn's going through it and he's asking these deep questions about this avatar, that's literally giving you your keywords, your starting point with your keywords. So not to get any further down the line on the list that we read off, is this sheet is a great segue into that keyword research next step.
100%. And that's always a spot that I know a lot of our clients get stumped on. They question, like, what are the keywords? What should I be? Blah, 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 and they kind of forget going back. They've already done a lot of the legwork.
Right.
And this is why I say the greatest gift that a business owner could ever give themselves is to think like their customer and prospect. Because if you can think like them, all of that next step, the keyword research element, what's that person going to be typing in? You just got to step in their shoes for a second and ask, what would I search for? What would I be writing? And we can start doing the research around that.
Yeah, you can't overcomplicate it. You have to, the only way to really kind of start is doing organic yourself, right? Just organically fill out this form, what you feel, put yourself in your avatar's shoes, right? And really kind of just go at it. Because when you work with an agency like Top Results Consulting, we're looking for a starting point. You know your business better than anybody. So these are some of the questions that we need to know, so then we can go a little deeper. But that's why it's so important to kind of go through this, just naturally fill it out. Don't try to, overcomplicate it. Just kind of fill it out, share it with us, your employees, your partners, things like that. Make sure it's kind of the exact kind of ideal client, and that's a great starting point. And then you kind of go into the deep keyword research. That's the next step.
Absolutely. So to kind of wrap it down a little bit here, without getting too deep into it, because a lot of it's just, you got to download the sheet and start filling it out. And when you start filling it out, you'll start realizing kind of where maybe your stump point is, or you'll start seeing where the light bulb will come on. But bottom left-hand corner, source of information. The big question here is, where does my ideal person, this avatar, this real estate Sally, for example, where does she consume information? If she's going to go out and do some research, does she actually do it on Google? Does she do it through websites? Does she do it through social platforms? Is it, old school, maybe more of a flyer or a letter or something like that to her house? Like, where is it that they like to get their information from? Because that's going to give you a lot of insight into how are you going to build the marketing around this avatar, and what elements do you maybe need on your site to help support that. If they like graphs and charts, well, then maybe you need to have some graphs and charts inside of your online mix, so that when they get there, it's kind of, it feels, again, I go back to, it feels like you've almost created this for them specifically. That's the feeling they're getting, which is what we're going for. Now, the far right side, far bottom corner right side, here's where we're kind of future thinking. And this leads into, this will probably be a big topic that we'll get into on a future episode down the line here. This concept between marketing and sales synergy, and the two of them playing hand in hand. This bottom right-hand side is, you're starting to future think, what are the objections, the common objections that Real Estate Sally's going to throw at me? What's some of the common objections that they have with maybe the type of product or the service, the process, something like that? Frequently asked questions of the past that you're used to getting from a very similar avatar. Does that apply to Real Estate Sally in our example? And if it does, I want to know that now. Because again, I go back to, if I were to go to Roger and say, hey, our biggest objection that we're going to get is all these gurus throwing out that it's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for a very well done website and really highly optimized and all this stuff, we're going to get hit with that. People are going to tell us they can't afford it. Well, Roger right away knows now, as he's creating elements of the TRC website, what do we need to put in there to educate why it doesn't need to cost thousands and thousands of dollars right out of the gate. So that, again, that business owner gets there, starts to see it, starts to really, in our other forms of marketing, blending some of that in. And then finally, the role of this person in the decision. Are they the sole decision maker? Are they a supporter in it? Is there somebody else that's involved in that decision process? And again, this kind of leads us now into that sales side. And if our marketing and our sales is starting to align, and we'll break down what that really means for sure in a future episode, when those two start to align and you're able to answer this up on the front end for the marketing end and build marketing into your website to support that, again, I go back to, it is like taking candy from a kid, because your sales team doesn't have to struggle anymore. They know they've got a resource that they can go to or drive the prospect over to, put them in front of, that the marketing team has helped it out. And before I kick it back over to Roger, I see him shaking his head. He's got some things I know he wants to drop. More gold bars come flying out here in a minute. But some of you are probably thinking, yeah, that sounds great, Shawn, but I am marketing and I am sales, and that's perfectly fine. There still needs to be a synergy. You almost have to think of the two as one, even though you are the individual controlling both of them. You want to think from a sales side, and at the same time, you want to think from a marketing side on every aspect of it. So go ahead, Roger. I see you're like ready to go. So let it out.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. No, it's just, there's so much packed into kind of like all this stuff, right? And I'm holding back, Shawn. I'm holding back so much because I know we want to kind of break this up. It is a lot. We don't want to overwhelm as well, right? The whole point of this is to help and add value and make sure that you guys can follow along and implement, take action. So what I do want to maybe even leave you guys with on this portion of things is everything that we're doing here, at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is add value to our avatar. And that's where, when we leave it as simple as that, we want to add value to the avatar. Everybody on the other side basically, is like, how do I do that? How do we get this done? Well, these are the steps. That's how we're going to add value. We have to figure out who we're talking to. We have to do the research on what these people are typing into Google. What are they interested in? And then we have to create pieces of content that will speak to them. that will relate to them. And when they find you, because one of the things that we also have to, giving tough love to somebody sometimes, nobody really at the beginning, if they don't know you, they don't trust you, you haven't been out there yet, you're brand new, nobody really cares about your brand or who you are. They care about how you can help them. Let's just be realistic, right? Like when I'm looking for a product or a service, I'm not looking for a brand. I'm looking for who is the best solution for my problem, right? So if you can create content, meaning in this case, blog posts for your website that speak to that, you answer every question your avatar would have in the form of blog posts, then they're going to find you. They're not necessarily going to find your brand. They're going to type into Google the question. Your blog post will be, hopefully it's structured correctly and it ranks on the top, search results, and they click on your result, they read it, and that content should speak to them, should add a lot of value. And then they'll do a little more research and find out who your brand is, give you a call, and hopefully become a client. And that, imagine if you have multiple blog posts out there, then you have more opportunities to get that person to do business with you.
I'm just going to kind of jump in right here. And that tough love piece, I'm not even going to say it's tough love. That was straight up truth. You are
Yes.
just getting started. And the way Roger said, I get it. It might come off, maybe a little straightforward and kind of arrow to the heart, so to say. But let's get real for a second. They don't care about you. They do to a sense. People want to know that they're doing business with a human, with a physical person, and the days of just buying into a brand. And we're not the Amazons and the Nikes and the Coca-Colas anymore. It's just not the way that business is going. People connect with businesses because of people, but at the early onset, they don't know you personally very well, and they haven't gotten to trust you just yet. So that's where what Roger just said was like, that was a whole bag of gold bars that came flying down. That you've got to be able to answer that quick. And the only way that you can, right? Again, we're going to get into these deeper pieces in the coming weeks on how to do this and what you need to break down. But if you can't even sit there today and tell us or tell yourself, what are some of those objections? What are the non-trust pieces? What are they still waiting to hear from so that they can have trust in me, have trust in my business? It's going to be really hard to market, to do things online, to get that website visitor to take the next step, to go the next level, fill out that form, visit more of your page, spend more time on that website. And again, this is why we started off with this piece right here is so crucial. All the other ones are power, but it's like a 50 caliber machine gun without a 50 caliber bullet. It's trying to put I go back military all the time. It's like trying to put a 7.62 round into a 50 caliber machine gun. That's a bad mamma jamma of a weapon, but not with that 7.62 bullet in it. It won't fire. Your website's the same way. Don't put the right ammo into it. I don't care how mean you make it. It's just not going to give you anything that you want.
That's right. That's right. No, I'm loving this piece, because this is where it all starts. Without the avatar, it is extremely hard to get found. It is extremely hard to gain momentum with your online presence. So hopefully you guys got some value from some of this, and we're here to add value, right? So we encourage you. Literally, we want you to reach out, as Shawn says over and over, is like, reach out with your questions. We're here to answer them. Don't feel like you're alone, because over and over we hear it. It's like we ask, all right, you want to come on board with our agency, you're ready to get started, do something with your website, and the first thing we ask, do you have an existing website? What do we hear, Shawn? A lot of times, I think so. I think there's something out there. We're like, what? you don't even know if you have a website or not, and I'm laughing, just kind of, I'm not to kind of target. This is reality, guys. Many entrepreneurs are in that situation because it's new to them, and that's why we're here.